Ois Dalet. V'hine mevuer l'maylo bifnim. Earlier, he explains inside Eich Igodel v'rav koyach shel ha'loas ubitul hanefesh b'Yisrael. How big and how powerful is the elevation and the subjugation of the soul by a yid, that it is greater, is godel, and it's more koyach mibim ba'alochim chulu than the angels. And that's why through the level of bittul that we have in this world, we are able to elevate into a level which is higher than even the malachim. Shaloi nimshach v'nizgale b'chinas odom she'al hakisei. That we don't get the hamshocha, to get the drawing down and the revelation v'nizgale b'chinas odom she'al hakisei, the level of odom which is on the kisei, ad shenizgale b'chinas b'chol meidecha, until you have the level of b'chol meidecha, which is something which only the person has, only by a yid has the level of Shema Yisrael, he says, and then he says, v'ahavta b'chol meidecha. Why is that? Because ki odom hu oisiyos me'od. The word odom, human, man, is the same letters as the word me'od. So who has the ability of me'od? Who has the ability of b'li gvul? That's only by a level of odom. And that's why a person has the reach nichoyach, like we said before, to be mamshich through the three kavim, Torah, Avodah, Gemilas Chasadim. We are able to be mamshich through our level of bittul, the level of odom shalamaylo, to come down the mat. But Inyan, the idea is kisibas hayois hashpa ma'mides b'bchinas gevul. The reason why the flow that comes from the midos is in the way of limitation, in a limited. It is not because the svidas and the midas themselves are in a level of gvul. That is not true. The 10 svidas are Ein Sof. The flow that comes from the level of midas, from the level of midas of Atzilus, the Amshoche that comes from those midas, the Hashpo, that is in the way of Gevul, Machmas Harkovo, Vihiskalus, because of the combination, the grafting, the inclusion of Achesed Megvura, V'Agvura Mechesed. Because there is this inclusion of Chesed from Gevura and Gevura from Chesed. Okay, therefore, Im Hayois Shebechinas Chesed Mital Atzmo Ubebechinas Ein Sof. Even though the level of chesed on its own is in a way of Ein Sof, unlimited. V'hoisom is pashetes ad ein ketz, and it would have expanded to no end. Bli gvul, the sfira itself, without the combination, without the limitation of gevura included in chesed, would have gone bli gvul to no end. Rak lefi sheyesh b'chinas hamanagedes lo, because there is a level that opposes the chesed. There's also a level of gevura. Lozeh, he bechinas. I'm gonna get this lozeh, which is I'm gonna get this lozeh. There is a level that which is he bechinas gevura hametzamtzemes oisa u manas ispashtus achesed bli gvul chulu, and that contracts it, it restricts it, and it prevents the expansion of the chesed to be bli gvul. Liyosha Omar le'oy So he said, "Oh, enough." That it says when the Abishah created the world kept on going until Hashem had to say, "Die." That's the level of gevura. You need the level of gevura together to limit the level of chesed. So the limitation does not come because the sephira is limited, but it comes because the chesed has gevura to limit it. So shekosuf b'yiriyas hamishkon arba bo'amo shmonim ve'esrim bo'amo. It talks about the panels, the different sizes, whether it was 4, whether it was 28. So it says 4 in the amo, 28 in the amo. Why doesn't it just say 4 amas, 28 amas? Like arba amas, shmonim ve'esrim amas. Doesn't say 4 amas, 28 amas. But Ella, because really Shayiriyas mitzad atzmam, which I guess represent the level of the sephiros, of the midos, and bebechinas b'li gvul, they are unlimited. They're without a limit. So it's not Yiriyas is not esriv, it's not arba amos, it's not 28 amos, it's b'li gvul. Rak. Yesh bechinas amo hameidedes umitzamtzemes at po chesed ve'at po gvura. There is a level of amo that measures and restricts. Up till here will be chesed, up till here will be gvura. So there is arba, but amo from the amo. That's how they became a level of measured of the level of midos. V'hu inyan kav hamida. So this bo'amo is the idea that we have a kav hamida, a measuring stick, and also knei hamida shabi yecheskel, the knei hamida which talk about the yecheskel. Over there, it talks about the measurements of the Beis Hamikdash. Moshekosu bezoyer parshas pekudei daf reish lamed gimel amud aleph. V'zeu shebchinas odom hainu bchinas ma'id mamesh afal pikein nikra odom. And this explains to us why the person odom we're saying is blikvul ma'id hainu bchinas ma'id mamesh. Ba'afa became Nikra Odom and still is called an Odom, which means that he is limited because it's like in the ways of the Midos that Be'etzem, they're Blikvul, but you have a limitation on it from the other Sephiris, which makes it therefore into a limited measure. Ba'ayin mashekosu beparshas Yisro b'dibra maschil lahavin biur inyan ha'haves ein ha'merkava mashekosu shom. What he writes of mashekosu shom v'tzorich loymar tzorich lahavin. This is part was written there. Tzorich lahavin ha'loishem machulu ach be'emes ha'ba'otal yuchu. That's B'shom Yuvan Gamkin Inyan Odom Oisius Moed Binyan Acha. From there, we can understand the idea. Odom has the same letters of Moed differently. But who? Shekidei Lasa is Bechinas Odom. I mean, this also has to do with the idea of the Odom Shalakise that we're discussing about, that to bring down the level of Odom to the level of Moed. So, Shekidei Lasis Bechinas Odom Zeh Sheyeh Biskalus Chulu, that in order to make that the level of Odom should be included, Hu Al Yidei Ham Shochem Bechinas Moed Mamish Shebeli Gvul, that is to bringing down the level of Ma'od Ligvul Shenimsha B'chinas Odom Chulu Ayin Shom. Well, that's all explained in that Mamer over there, Ayin Shom. Hainu Ayidei B'chol Meidecha B'Krishma Chulu. That's when you come to B'chol Meidecha in Kriyashma. Zehu Lebabtani, and this is what the pasuk says. Lebabtani, and the pasuk we're discussing. Lebabtani Achosi Kalo. What is Lebabtani? SheHaKadosh Baruch Hu Omer LeKnesses Yisrael. The Kadosh Baruch Hu says to the Knesset Yisrael, She'ato oisi lebechinas slave. You make me into a heart. Levavetani. You make me into a heart. You're mamshich, and you bring down the hamshoch, the odom, and you make it into a heart to be mamshich to the to Knesset Yisrael and to the Yid and to the world. Kihine kol chayis v'kiyim u'mozen shel kol ha'evorim shebe'odom. The vitality, the entire vitality and the sustaining and the food of all of the limbs that are in the person, v'aguf b'chloloi, and generally speaking, in the body generally, utolui v'nimshach min halev, that hinges on and it extends from the heart. Ki halev hu mishkan lenefesh hachiyunis. The heart is the place of resting of the vitalizing soul. As the pasuk says, Ki hadam hu hanefesh. The blood is the soul. Shebehadam shebelev nikshera v'nislapsha hanefesh hachiyunis. In the blood that is in the heart, it was tied and dressed up the vitalizing soul. V'halev hu hamechalik hachayis v'hadam l'chol ha'ivorim. The heart, it what distributes the energy and the blood to all the limbs. So the heart is the place where the soul dwells, where it lives. That's the dam, is the nefesh. That's what, and then it distributes to all the limbs. However, where does the blood come to the heart from? Where does it come? Mitzad atzmoi levad. That's not from itself alone. The heart itself has all the blood. That's not so. Why? Ki mitzad atzmoi ein boi rak revi'is dam levad. On its own, from its own, it only has a revi'is, a small amount of blood. Ve'ein boi kidei his pashtus v'hiluch hadam b'chol ha'ivorim. There isn't sufficient in the heart enough to expand and the blood to go in all the limbs. So how does it get everywhere? We are constantly adding blood in the heart through the food that the person eats. It digests until the food turns into blood. Then v'noitel hakoved ribui hadam. So the liver takes the most of the blood. V'hapesoiles and the leftovers. V'sheleach hamufchar leleif. and it sends away the best to the heart. It sort of filters through the liver, all the blood and the psoilus, and it sends the best to the heart. Likewise is the example understood also above. What is the pshat of the heart above? By Hashem, we say we make him the heart. Through the elevation of the soul in the service of the heart, which is the davening, when you elevate him, and that is called shenikro lachmi liishai, through the davening in the avodah, when you serve Hashem with your heart in the davening. That's the korban. That's in the place of the korban. It's called lachmi liishai. That becomes my bread for my ishai, for my srofim, as he said before. Nase b'chinas amshochas hachayis b'chinas slave. So that makes, and it brings down extra that chayis in the level of life. The hainu, that is shal yidei habirurim the biyah, through the sorting out of biyah. That's also included as nefesh habahamis in his davening, but this is all the birurim of biyah. Sheshorsho me'olam hatoyu, who are rooted from the world of toyu. Nitoysef ha'oir v'achayus ba'odom datzilus. That adds the light and the energy in the Odom Datzilus, the Odom Sha'ala Kisei, in the Odom of Atzilus. That becomes the Lechem, Le'ishai, and it adds Chayis to the Odom Datzilus. Nimshach Mimenu, his Pashtus Achayus B'Ho'ilomes, through this extends from him the expansion of the vitality in the world. V'ayin mashekosum mizeh al posik ani yishenu v'libi or v'zehu, and this is the meaning of lebabteni shata oisa oisi lebchinas lev. You make me into a heart, lebabteni. You make the heart by adding the blood through the avodas hatfila, that's lachmi li ishai, to then you get the Amshocha B'china slave, and we have additional light in the Olam Hatzilus, and through that it becomes Nechoyach, it becomes the Chayis of the world. The Lev Yesh, Beis Chalol. In the heart there's two ventricles. Two Chalol. You have Cholol Hayimoni, the right ventricle, the Cholol HaSmoli, and the left ventricle. Cholol HaSmoli, the left ventricle, who Mishkan Hadam, that's where the blood is. The Cholol HaYimoni, and the right ventricle, Mole Avir Veruach, that's full with air and the Ruach. So Iker HaRuach Chayim, that's the main spirit of life. The air in the right ventricle it's filled with the spirit, with air, and with the spirit of life. The blood itself in the left ventricle could not have expanded and to travel through all the limbs if he does not have the spirit of life and the right ventricle that leads the blood. There's something in addition in that spirit of life, something else, something more. That he also extends to the brain. So that right ventricle, the ear, connects the brain to the heart. It needs that connection from the right ventricle, from the ear, because the blood does not go to the brain. In the brain, the blood, there is no traveling of the blood. It is only the ear and the spirit of life, which is in the heart, which we're talking about, the right ventricle, that connects, ties and connects the heart to the moyach. And then from the brain, it goes and returns back to the heart as known. And same thing is above. Lebabtani. When you say above, we also say lebabtani, the two levels of the heart. Lebabtani, meaning hainu beis bechinas shabalev, the two ventricles of the heart, the two levels of the heart. Cholol hayimoni v'cholol hasmoli, the right and the left ventricles. What is it above? He's going to explain. Hainu, that is achayis shenimshach mispashet ma'atzilus libiyah, the vitality that expands from atzilus to biyah. To vitalize the souls and the angels. Zehu kimoi bechinas heispashtus hachayis mecholel hasmoli lecholei borei aguf. That is similar to the level of the expanding of the vitality from the left ventricle to all limbs of the body. So that's the expansion that comes from Atzilus to Biyah. That's the left ventricle. That's like the dam that goes. But the extension of the light and the energy, the essence of the Einus of Baruch Hu, who is not at all in the definition of Sviras, Liyes, Nimshach, his Havus HaChochma, so that from the Atzmus should be created Chochma, HaChochma da Antzilus, and Chakim. So that's a very powerful level. So that level to come from the Ein Soif into Chochma da Atzilus, to get to the level of Adchakim, he kemoyis pashtus v'amshochas achayis mecholul hayimoni shebelev shemoli ruach. That is similar to the expansion and bringing the chayis from the right ventricle in the heart, which is full of ear. The second shemamshich gamkein el hamoyach. That also comes to the moyach. We said before, from the right ventricle comes the cholol hayimoni. You have the spirit that comes to the brain. That gamkil moyach. Kachu hamshocha li is bechinas chochma. That's what also we're talking about here. The hamshocha, so that it should be chochma the atzilus. V'ayin bepirush haramaz bezoyer parshas emer daf tzadik gimel omed beis laposik l'chomar libi bakshu v'onaychulu sheherich shom b'inyan leiv. He expands over there extensively about the idea of the heart, and also v'she'oir abba meir b'cholol yemini shebelev sheboiru chayis, and that the light of Abba Chochma shines in the right ventricle in the heart, sheboiru chayis, in which there is that spirit of energy. And the Emo on the level of Bina is Meira, that shines becholol hasmoli shaboy hadam, that in the left ventricle the dam. So chokma in the right and bina in the left. Abba in the right and bina in the left. Upnimis halev, upnimis ab sag chulu. As he writes over there, that's the inner of the name Ab and name Sag. B'chein kosavei the parshas Pinchas b'daf reish chof aleph. B'imkein apizem move on. So based on this, we can understand the mashikosu the hachayis shemispashet ma'atzilus lahachis olam habriya. That's what the Rebbe just explains, that the Chai is that comes from Atzilus Lachis Olam Habriyo. Zehu Mibchinas Cholol HaSmolish Belev. That comes from the left ventricle of the heart. I knew, and that is because Ki Ema Mekaneno Bekursaya. Ema is Bina Nes in the Kursaya in Bria. Avol Atzilus Hu B'chinas Chochma B'chlal. But generally Atzilus is the level. Chochma is in Atzilus. Bina rests in Bria, but Chochma in Atzilus, Shehu Bechinas Cholol Hayimoni. That is the level of the right ventricle. V'nikra Ruach. That's called the level of Ruach. K'meshekosuf Be'etz Chaim. K'meshekosuf Be'etz Chaim Shar Moichin. That the Tzelem Shar Moichin the Tzelem Perikei. Shekosa b'shem Sefer Yitzira, you write in Sefer Yitzira, Sha'chochma nikra Ruach Elikim Chayim. That's called the Ruach Elikim Chayim. So that's the Ruach Chayim, which is in the right ventricle. V'ayim ha'shekosa me'inyan the Ruach al Posik, v'hoyo mispar b'nei Yisrael, kichoil hayom. Inami, another way, api ma'shekosa b'parshas Miketz, b'dibur ha'maschil, Ner Chanukah Chulu. So over there, Kadesh Mizim be Minyan Chulu. Be Inyan, over there he writes that the Inyan of Avir is Oir Yud. Avir makes up the level Oir Yud. Yud is Chochmat. That's the Avir. Shaha Oras. Oir Haner, who it's is it Al Shem Ayin Shin, right?
No. No. 1 second. You're talking to me, Haner Hu Al Yadei?
Oh, Al Yadei. Yeah, okay, good. Yud. Well, Yadei. Sha'oras Eir Haner Hu Al Yadei Sheyesh Avir Soviv Ha'er Chulu Ayin Shom. So that the Ner that shines is the fact that there is air around the light. So Nimtza ha'oir shu b'chinas chochma. So it turns out that the oir, which is the level of chochma, commotion is il, as we said earlier, mekabel b'chinas avir, receives. Avir is oir yud, receives from the avir shu b'chinas keser chulu. And the avir hain ruach, and avir is the same as ruach. L'chein, that's why we call it the ruach, because that's the level of avir, that's the level of kesem. That comes from the right ventricle of the heart. So now the pasuk continues, the lebabetani. These two levels of lebabetani, the base level, the base two levels, the level of dam and the level of ruach, the level of mamshich into bia and mamshich into atzilus, the level of chochma in atzilus. Wa'idei beis bechinos achachosi v'kalo. Lebabetani, it says achosi kalo is both to achosi and the kalo. Shehem beis avos. Those are two levels of love. Achosi, the level of Achosi, he avo hanim sheches mibchinas chochma. That's a love that comes, the love that comes to a Yid, a love to Hashem, that comes from the level of chochma. As we say, Achoisi Rayosi, my sister, my beloved, which is the level of Trein Rein, the Loy Mispashtim. It's like two friends, Loy Mispashtim, that never separate. That's the level of Achoisi, a connection that never separates. Vihi ha'ave benachas. And that's a level of love that comes gently, softly, menachas. Al derech, similar to what we say, divrei chachomim benachas nishmoim. The words of the sages are listened to when they're spoken gently. V'hu b'chinas ava hativis she b'chinas chochma shel beinoni. And that's the natural love, which comes from the level of Chokhmah, as said in the Tanya. And through that level of that natural love that comes from Chokhmah, you arouse and you bring down the Chayis in the Netzolim, into Atzilus. Hanikra Ruach, which is called the Ruach. We said before, coming from Keser into Atzilus. V'zehu, and this is also fits also what the pasuk says, Amor lachokma achoisiyat. Say to Chokma, you're my sister. The Kalo, then you have the second level is the level of Kalo. That's a level of love that is like a fire. Kolso nafshi, my soul expires. Shehu mibchinas bina liba. That comes from the level of bina, which is heart. The bina and lev, that's the heart. And through the level of the heart, the level of bina, Nimshach Oirein Sof Bibiyah, that brings down the level of the Oirein Sof in Biyah. V'hainu al Yidei Hamidos, that is through the level of Midos, L'cho Hashem Hagedullah.